Hello, hello, everybody. There's Esther doing her nails.
I'm just fixing my cuticles. They've
She's very far away from the mic, but
they've
maybe
been a little rough, and I've been just staring
your
at them.
cuticles have been rough.
Rough as in like they don't look good because they haven't been trimmed. And every time I go to the gym in between sets, I just look at them and I'm
And you
like,
like feel it like this. You
that's
like
nasty.
run your finger
Yeah.
over it.
So, anyways, I'm just gonna give them the old trimmy trim.
So we just got back from the gym, and I lost 40 pounds in 70 days. Yeah. So I mean, main one of the reasons for me for going to the gym was weight loss. A lot of incline walking for long distances, long times. Started splitting it up in the last week of doing it, last few days. So like I'll walk maybe like 20 minutes, and then I'll go do some weightlifting. Then I'll come back and walk another 20 minutes. So there was a couple days though where it was hours of incline treadmill, and lately it's been about 30 to 40 minutes a day. Sometimes in one sitting, sometimes in a break with about 20 to 30 minutes of weightlifting in between, and then sometimes half a day worth of time in between. I would do it in the morning, and then I would do it at night.
Mm.
So that's been my gym lately. I'll lose a little more weight, go below the goal that I had. And it's good to have goals, but then it's also good to not like hit it and then be like, oh, I'm done. So I just told myself that I was actually going to make a goal and then go past the goal, which I know is just kind of, but it's a trick to myself, is what it is. And there was 2 days recently where the incline walk, it's almost a speed walk. I mean, it's fast. It's 15
It's
incline, 4 speed.
fast, bro. You're like
So it's quick.
hustling.
It's quick. And it felt long these last couple days. Not today, but there was a couple days probably in the last week that it felt long. And those days I purposely went even longer. So the days when it felt most difficult to me, I just told myself I am going to do it longer, and I simply did it longer.
Wow.
So the days that it felt the most difficult, I purposely pushed myself 5 to 10 minutes past whatever the amount of time was for that day, and I felt really good about it after. And honestly, it's like would get easier. It was very difficult, and I would hit the time that I thought in my brain, and I was just like, "This is how much I thought I was gonna go. I'm just gonna go more," and then it got easier.
Here's what I do because when we were going for 2 hours a day when we first started,
Yeah, hour and a half, 2 hours.
an hour was so long to walk, and I would just tell myself, I'm not going to walk that long. I'm going to walk 30 minutes. And then when I get to 30, I'd be like, cool, I'm going to walk 40. And then I get to
Nice.
40, and then I'd be like, all right, 45,
So
baby.
you had a version
And
of
I
that
would
as well.
just lie to myself and tell myself I'd stop early, but I know
Oh
I wouldn't,
wow.
which is what I do at work when I'm like tired in the morning, I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? Take a nap when I get home. Because I know if I'm still tired by then, I could take a nap if I want to.
But then you're saying
But then
then
I'm
you
not tired when I get home and I want to do
Oh.
stuff. But to get myself through the day when I'm feeling tired, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna take a
So
nap.
you're treating yourself to an idea. You're treating
I'm
yourself
letting
to
the idea comfort me, but then in
hmm,
the back of my mind, I know that I'm gonna do what I need to do.
you're treating yourself to an
But that's
imaginary reward, and it is getting you through the day,
yeah.
and that reward is somewhat indulgent, and potentially, at least in the instance we're talking about right now, that reward is somewhat of a waste of time. You were feeling like that reward was somewhat of a indulgent, nonsensical extra thing.
Kind of, but it's just like it's more of like if I need to do this thing, I can do it. Like if I'm so tired at
Yes,
30 minutes that I
but
need
let
to
me
stop
stick
walking,
on.
I'm like, yeah, I will stop walking if
Oh,
that's the case.
but let
Because
me
in the
stick
moment, I'm like,
on.
oh, I don't want to walk
Okay.
that long. It's so long.
Yeah.
So
But
I
let
just
me
tell
s-
myself, okay, if it gets to 30 and that feels like too much, then I'll just stop at 30. But then I get there and I'm like, okay, I'm fine.
Okay. Let me stick on the one thought that I was thinking,
Oh.
which was you're treating yourself to this imaginary reward
Mm-hmm.
during the difficult thing. And then you're saying that you didn't even actually take that reward that pushed you through it during. Once
Mm-hmm.
you got to when you were able to receive that reward, you delayed the reward. Let's take the nap, right? So instead of sleeping at whatever time you got back, you delayed that nap until actual bedtime.
Yeah.
True.
Not necessarily. I just didn't get it all because I was gonna go to bed regardless if I had a nap.
No,
or
but
not.
that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to compare the napping to sleeping. So you still ended up getting, you like the sleep, you like the night routine, you like going to sleep.
Yeah.
So I'm saying is that you told yourself you were going to get that early, you were going to get that respite, and then you went.
He said what?
Respite, isn't that a rest?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
Respite. Let me look it up.
Maybe I'm just.
What does respite? Respite, a short period of rest or relief from something difficult or unpleasant. That was literally perfect.
Wow. Jude is an intellectual.
So this is quite amazing. So
This is quite amazing. What's quite amazing?
what we're talking about right now, this delayed gratification, it's such an important thing. And we both did it in a very similar way, but I don't think we've talked about this before.
Nope.
Okay, very cool. So I wish we were paying attention a little bit more though, because it's quite exciting.
I am paying attention.
Okay.
And I do seem rather low energy, but I'm all right.
Okay, good.
I'm just.
So just make sure. So but we were thinking of some sort of reward. You were thinking more so of a reward. I was thinking of finishing said task. It's the same thing though. I delayed the gratification of finishing the task, which is a lot of the gratification that I get in things is finishing tasks.
Mm-hmm.
And your gratification was a reward for accomplishing something. But yet, during the difficult times, you thought of that reward and then didn't take it when it did arrive. Mm-hmm. And I also found the walking difficult, told myself I'm purposely going to do more. And then when I got, even though it was the most difficult, it felt the most difficult those days, even though it was the same stuff I had been doing, it just got difficult. Because I don't take a lot of rest days. I know I probably should take more, and I will be coming up to that soon when I pass the goal. It's funny. You do have to play these mind tricks on yourself,
Yeah.
I do like a lot of the stuff that I've been seeing more often, which is like, they're actually, my throat keeps making these weird noises.
Oh, that was weird. I thought that was your stomach.
Yeah. It's like a stomach growl, but in the throat, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I've been seeing more of this, of people saying this isn't passion, this isn't talent. This is actually me hating this thing, and I just do it anyway. Because what beats out passion and what beats out what's the word I just used?
Talent.
Passion and talent. What beats that out is diligence, persistence, long suffering. Oh my goodness, long suffering. Come on.
Oh. Is he looking at long suffering?
Camera's been on you for quite some time.
Well, I was not given any cue of that.
Well, I mean, I'm looking stuff up.
I had my first day of, not today, a couple days ago when we went to the gym. I was fine going there. I was like, all right, yeah, gym, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
But it was the day after I was like, okay, I'm up in the weights, baby. I've been at the similar weight for too many days. So I went absolutely ham. And then the next day I was like,
that wasn't that bad.
No, I was like, dang, I'm not sore. That's annoying. I want to be sore because that's like gratification to me. But then when we went to the gym that day where I wasn't sore, everything felt so heavy, and my starting weight to like warm up, I could hardly do. And it was very upsetting. And I was like, oh, I just want to leave. But you didn't want to leave. So we still stayed there the whole amount of time, and I still did stuff. But I did like all my warm up weight numbers because I would try every time to like do my heavier one, and I just couldn't, which maybe is because I went so hard the day before. And that was that day that you were walking, and I was like, we're leaving. And you were like, no. And then I left, and I was just going to sit in the car and wait for you. And then you actually walked out too and scared me.
Oh, yeah.
Because I had my headphones on.
I wanted to speak on some of these words. Sorry, that's why I was typing.
I know. I was just filling the gap.
No, I know. It was perfect. just watch for those so that I don't have to tell you that I'm doing it, and then we'll be perfect.
What?
Because I told you, the camera's been on you for quite some time. If I go quiet, I'm probably doing something and want you to.
I mean, it took me like a second of
Oh
you
no, I
being
wasn't
quiet
saying,
to start talking.
I wasn't saying that was. No, you were drinking, and then it was about 10 seconds of silence.
Oh, good grief.
No, it's okay. I was just saying. So I looked up the word long suffering, the definition. It's just phenomenal. Having or showing patience in spite of troubles, especially those caused by other people. That's an interesting little end part there. And then, of course, that phrase long suffering, of course, is so often used in the Bible, especially the King James Version, which is what my family always used, which is really great. There's reasons for other ones as well, but King James is awesome, that version. But thou, O Lord, art a God of full compassion and gracious, long-suffering, and plenteous in mercy and truth. Psalms 86.
We are the others causing grief in that scenario.
Yeah. For the Lord is full of compassion and mercy, long-suffering and very pitiful, and forgiveth sins and saveth in times of affliction. So pitiful is different there. He's showing pity on people. He's not pitiful like we would use that word now, like, oh, you pitiful. He is pitiful.
All right.
A lot of those words were like that. Awful was a good thing.
Yeah.
Full of awe.
Yeah, when did that become a bad thing?
No idea. So we were both doing this, and I hit on this all the time. So I hit on Esther all the time. No, I hit on.
Hey, yeah. For a second, I took that as hitting, and I was like,
"Oh
what?
my gosh! Cut that."
I just had to mention because my face when you first said it was like, and I was like, oh.
Well, the camera wasn't on you at that point, so you did not have to mention. No, I'm just kidding.
I mentioned it. I'm gonna remove my makeup, so if you cut back to me and I have,
I will zoom up on that for sure.
I have half a face of makeup. That's why.
I always comment a lot, and I think this podcast will become more and more of this, is the difference, the big differences between Esther and I, and the polar opposites in thought process, emotions, and, what's the word I'm thinking? Processing, how we process things. We often come out to the same end goal as you just saw there, and we just said that we haven't spoken on that before. Obviously, a lot of things we've spoken about before than when we're on here, but we both were just talking about how we haven't really discussed these thoughts that went on in our head of like, okay, let me tell myself this thing, and obviously tons of people have this, but maybe some people aren't using it.
Now I've been listening for the clicks to hear when you go to my camera.
So maybe some people aren't using it. Maybe this is a tactic. Maybe this is a muscle that has to be worked out. And this is something people can use to motivate themselves. Self-motivation, which oftentimes is the best motivation. So how did you get to that idea? My personality and thought process would lend itself to that. I'm very surprised that you do that.
Well, I've been doing. Sorry, I'm looking away from the mic. I've been doing that at work for a long time with the napping scenario.
I've heard you've commented on the work napping thing before.
That's back to my Hobby Lobby days, and I'd be like, that was even more because I'd go in at like 5 and 6 and 7 some days. So those days, I definitely needed to hear that.
5 a.m. you said?
Yeah. Christmas. Wow. That's that Christmas setting up Isles life.
Interesting. You also don't have to mention exactly where you worked if you don't want to.
Oh, I do.
You don't not have to either.
You know, it was a vibe, to be honest. But then...
What was the vibe?
Working at Hobby Lobby. Because it was like... everything I love. Making everything in order and everything in its place perfectly. Refilling things. Decorating tables. It was fantastic. But what made it suck was the customers. because I'd be trying to do something and then they come and ask you for stuff. And I'm like, bruh, I don't have time to show you this because I have to get this done. And like management. We had a lot of management changes. So that also sucked. Anyways, okay. What was I supposed to be talking about? Oh, when did I start doing that? Because that's not a normal thing that you would think for me.
Not for you, for people with your similar traits, personalities, and processing, the ways that you process. I would not
But
necessarily.
it kind of fits for me because the way that I said it,
Right.
where it's
Explain
like
why. If it fits, explain why, please.
I wanted to quit. Like on the treadmill, I want to stop earlier. So I just told myself, yeah, you can do that. So I was just giving myself like the gratification of, yeah, you can just give up. Don't finish it through. It's fine. But then once I got there, because I was able to excite myself of, yeah, I will get to stop, then I'm like, yeah, I can just keep going. So I'm using my bad quality of wanting to quit on something and turning it around to be good, because I'm like, okay, well, if I could make it, then I can make it. So might as well keep going. Because I know now, the older I get, I know that if I did just stop, even though in the moment I'm like, yeah, I want to stop now because I'm tired of walking because it's boring. Then later I'll be like, oh, I should have gone longer. So now I know the regret that follows stuff. But I can use that to motivate myself by telling myself, yeah, you can just do whatever. But then not do it.
Right. So you've been thinking like this. You've used.
Do I look crazy? Is there any makeup lingering anywhere?
No, you don't look crazy. Okay. So you've used this thought process and this self motivation tactic during things that you find difficult in multiple different instances, jobs, professional and personal settings. And you've seen it help multiple times. So try to just delve a little deeper on that.
Whoa. What do you mean by that? See, and I only just now made that connection between the two. So
but
maybe
if we had this conversation earlier, you probably would have. And then that goes back into going over your day, self-reflection. What happened today? How did I feel? What did I do? What went good? What went bad?
Yes. And that's such a, like, when you hear people like, oh, have some reflection, it sounds so not practical. But it be making sense. And it can translate for like a couple to have like a talk at the end of the day. Something you should probably want and do anyway. But for single people, it's like journaling, praying, whatever. You can do it if you have somebody to talk to directly in front of you or not. And it's beneficial, but sometimes when people mention it, it sounds like oh, meditation, sit on the floor and think about your thoughts. But it doesn't. It's not something weird like that.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with doing that. That's not weird, but
yeah,
some people think of that and they're like, oh, I'm too amped up to ever sit and you don't necessarily have to do that.
Patiently deferred satisfaction. So patience is part of it. You have to be okay with the delay, right? You can't be sitting there complaining about it. Patiently deferred satisfaction, because deferred, right? Waiting longer, and deferred is like purposely putting it off. See, you didn't have to. You could have stopped at the 30-minute mark, the one you're saying. I could have stopped at whatever the amount of time. It doesn't matter the amount of time. Whatever it was that it was set. The day that it felt more difficult is the time that I did more. The day that you think you'd do less is the day that I did more. And it wasn't anything crazy. I didn't run for 15 miles. It wasn't anything insane. It was just more than what I had planned, and that's what builds that stronger mindset. And it's important to find places, like I just was explaining, purposefully doing this stuff. You will not be prepared for the time that you're forced to delay gratification unless you do it in times that aren't as high stakes, which is something that I talk to you about a lot and you completely disregard.
First of all, that is so disrespectful to say. Second of all, I know exactly what you're thinking of right now, and it's
Nice.
the coat thing.
But is it true?
And let me
or
tell
is it
you
not
something.
true?
Today, I was going out,
Okay.
and I had already been out to Safeway, and I was like, I was freezing. And
I'm
I was
holding
like,
laughs over here how she reacted to me saying that. That is so funny.
that was mad disrespectful. Anyways,
Completely
and I was like,
disregarded.
huh?
That's what I.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Anyways, I'd been out to Safeway. I was cold the whole time. A lot of people talk to me. Sometimes, some days, like,
Men? I'm sure.
the only man was, no, there was two, but they were both old guys. Anyways,
I'll allow
let me keep on topic and then I'll go back to that.
Don't. No, I'm just kidding.
Anyways, I'd been out. It was cold. Then I was going out shopping again with my mom, and I was like,
Okay.
I was cold. It's quite cold today. And I was like, don't feel like adding a jacket because I like how I look. And then I thought to your, oh, if you don't wear a jacket when it's cold.
I am forcing her to redo that with a different voice.
If you don't wear a jacket when it's cold, then you'll build up your tolerance. And then I went back to the old one. And then if you're caught in the cold, you won't be bothered. Whatever. He tells me that kind of stuff when I'm bundling up for work. And I will never train myself for the cold when I'm at work.
Why
because
not?
I'm outside all the time, and that's
Why
ridiculous. Work is enough of a... He's
No,
going to
it's
get
not.
mad. Work has plenty of other things.
Not
to
your
ir-
work. Simple.
That's your opinion. Work has plenty of other
It is
things.
my opinion, but
Can I
stand,
speak?
But I stand by it.
Work has plenty of other things to bother me. I don't need to be bracing myself for the cold. But today I was like, I'm going to be cold.
Why are you working a job that bothers you?
Every job will bother me.
Why?
Period.
Why? I mean, it makes me like you less.
Nice. He loves to disrespect me.
I'm not disrespecting you. I'm
Here's the
telling
thing.
you as someone that I respect
Here's the
what I
thing.
think. I'm not going to keep my
I
thought from you.
currently don't know of something that I am so passionate about that work would not be like. And it's not even, it's not like I
Also, be very careful to hear the word that I used. I said like, not love.
It's not that I dislike it, but it's just everybody, they could be working the job they asked for years. And you wake up at 7 and you're still going to be like, I'm tired this morning.
You said I'm
It's just life.
always going to dislike. You said always going to dislike something about my job.
I said
That's what
there's
you said,
plenty of
I think.
stuff to annoy me already at
No,
my
but then
job.
I said, why do you work a job that you don't like? And you said, every job I won't like. That's what you said back.
Okay. Correct. But I didn't mean like, every second I hate it. I just mean there's going to be a day where I'm like, I don't really want to go
Have I
in
not
today.
tried to set you up with
And
stuff
that's
where you
everybody.
could-
And I'm totally fine with that. And it's totally normal. And you are irrelevant. So
Okay.
next, I went to Costco. I was cold. And I was just like, whatever. And I lived my life. And I was like, this is a fine time to do that. Don't ever tell me that when I'm going to work because that's ridiculous.
Well, obviously I disagree with you, but you disagree with me too, and that's totally fine.
And church the other time, I wore a dress with no jacket.
Mm-hmm.
And I was cold.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
I've
just,
never-
I'm just the perfect specimen.
I've never told you that you've never done that.
I know, but you're like, if you did this, okay, I'll do it. And I have done it. But I'm not going to do it always because what's the point?
Always or
And I'm not
Every
going to
so
do it
often.
when it doesn't make sense.
to you.
Every so often, I did it twice
When
in
it
the last
doesn't make
week.
sense to you.
Twice in the last 2 weeks. 1 week.
When it doesn't make sense to you. Not when it doesn't
I
make
get to
sense,
decide.
period. Right. To you.
Correct.
Totally fair.
Look at me. I'm the captain. Fidget of
why
the day.
not? Oh, let me switch back to your camera. Why not do some of the things that I've helped you set up then to where you could start work at any time of the day and do it all from home?
Because I am not somebody who is a high functioning. No, I'm not somebody
No,
that's
not-
good
okay.
at managing myself work wise. And I'm not somebody
But I
who
manage
is
most of it.
extremely self
But I managed most of
motivated.
it. So is it because it's me?
Kind of. I don't know. It's just
Well, no, say yes if that's the case.
not really.
that would
It's
be
not
good
like,
for someone to
if it
learn.
was somebody else, I'd do
I
it.
think I'm not going to be putting words in your mouth, so I'll let you respond to this. Obviously, I don't
Nice.
have to let you do anything. You've been talking the whole time. But what I'm saying is that I know you just said not really, but you've 100% said in the past off the podcast that it's because it's me that makes it difficult. And I just want to talk on that for a
I
second.
don't know that I've
No,
said
not me as
that.
a person, me as a significant other.
Huh?
You work on something together, you're at home, the significant other puts together some said process. Your time's totally managed, it's totally planned out, which we've done many, many times. And then you fail to see
I
it
guess,
through.
but
Not
here's
you.
here's
Be
how
careful.
you.
Wait. Be careful to know that I'm not saying you. I'm saying significant others, marriage relationships, two people. It is more difficult. And I'm more than not happy. I'm more than willing and understanding that the answer to that question is easily yes. It's because you're the one that asking.
Okay, I don't necessarily think that.
But you've said that in the past.
I don't recall at the moment, but maybe I have.
Okay, but I still don't want to be putting words in your mouth, so let me recall a specific time.
Can I respond? Because I thought you said you were going to let me respond.
Well, yes, but because you're still saying that this might not have necessarily happened and none of this makes sense unless we get to the point. So I will bring up some of the things.
Nah, not relevant.
No, it's extremely relevant. I mean,
I'm sure.
Well, I brought it up, so it is relevant.
I'm sure it's the case. I'm just going to go ahead and respond and say.
Wait, so you're saying it has been the
problem?
Case? So it has.
In this moment, I cannot recall, but I'm sure you're not a liar.
No, right, but it's very important for this conversation. So like times when we put together schedules on calendars where it said 10 a.m. do this, and the whole day was planned out, and you were like, no, I don't want to do that. So
correct. Okay. And it's not saying, oh, because you put that calendar together, I don't want
but
to.
Other managers,
if you let me speak for a moment, I'll tell you what it was.
Last thing.
Oh, just let me. No, you can wait.
Okay.
The problem was the way you plan out a day is for how you are, which is extremely
incorrect.
No, you literally had every half hour something planned out.
Does your manager at your work not have your time planned out down to the half hours?
We don't need to talk about that.
The answer is yes.
No, the answer is no.
Well, no. The answer is yes. Whether or not how specific it is different.
They have a certain amount of hours.
Mm-hmm.
They start here
and
here.
Do you not have projects throughout that time?
Yes.
So why are you willing to do it for other companies but not for your own well-being? Very important question. This is very important.
Because
I'm not mad at you, by the way.
You then scheduled out not work.
Okay.
You said get up at this time. Eat breakfast at this time.
Do you not have to get up at a certain time and eat breakfast at a certain time to get to your job on time? I'm just trying.
I have to get up and get to the job, and I do job things within the job, and then when I'm done, I do whatever. Right. At whatever time I feel like.
I just to be clear, I'm being
you
very
were
specific
scheduling my entire day, start to finish. Get up, go to sleep, times, every minute in between.
You have that for yourself already.
No, you don't need every single minute of your life planned out.
Good. I'm wanting your actual answers. These are important questions to me, and I'm happy with your answers.
And for some people, they thrive off of that, and great, and that's what gets them excited and gets them through their day. For me, that makes me hate every single day to think that I can't make a decision other than this schedule, which is completely
understood. So allow me to keep asking these questions, not attached to you as a person or your schedule, but to any person, and then I just want your answers. They're not leading questions or anything. I'm asking you about how you...
Objection. Leading the witness.
about what you think. So the answer to the question of do you have to get up at a certain time to get to a job? Do you have to get up at a certain time to get to your job on time?
Yes.
Yes. Is your time planned out at that job? At any job?
I mean, yeah, I guess. But...
So if you had the opportunity to stay at home, uncapped income can infinitely go up, and it was proven to be that. The thing that I'm talking about, but I want to keep it objective. You have a potential. You have this thing where it's uncapped income. It's up to you what you can do. It's up to you when the time is spent, but it is going to take extra time. So I'm not a liar or a wishful thinker to where I'm saying, oh, this uncapped income, work from home, work like those people talk about to get you to sign up to their stuff. It'll take a ton of hard work, but it all is feasible and doable. Why are you willing to have your time scheduled by somebody else and not yourself? Not me, not the significant other, not by you.
My stress levels will skyrocket. My happiness will decrease.
This is great.
And the rest...
Not that your happiness... I like these answers.
The entire rest of my life will be impacted.
That's very sad, and I would...
Why? You're a different person than me.
Right. So let
you
me say what I'm
would
saying.
be-
I'm not mad at you.
You would have that stuff happen if
Right.
you went and worked a 9 to 5 for some
100%.
corporate business.
And that's what I was trying.
So why are you trying to force me
I'm
to
not.
do what that
I'm
is
not.
to me?
I just wanted you to say exactly what you're thinking so that we could
But
get
you would be more excited and pleased if I were your mindset of, oh, I'm going to work on our own personal business stuff. We're going to start stuff. You would be more excited about that.
Let's get to that in 1 second.
But why? Because what if I was telling you I would be so much happier if you got a corporate office job and got twice as much money because I know you could do that.
100%. This is
and it would crush your soul, but that's what you're trying to do to me.
It's not what I'm trying to do.
Not anymore. You don't really press on that too much anymore. But
Oh, so I did.
Hmm?
Okay, so let's get to that in 1 second. Not that I'm not denying that at all, but I'm wanting to let you finish what you're saying, and then what I'm better at is kind of trying to define, zone in on each thing. But I love all the stuff you're bringing up. So your personality is if you had full control of your time. And don't take these things. You sometimes think that I'm putting a positive and a negative on things. I'm simply stating exactly what the thing is. You have full control over your day. You do whatever you want. Is more nerve-wracking and potentially depressing to you than having an unrelated to you person at a random location and occupation tell you what to do. That brings you less stress and more happiness on your off time than it is doing your own thing.
Correct.
Okay. And yes, then your follow-up statement, which is, I can't understand that. You're right. I completely can't understand that. And yes, it does make me feel sorry and sad for you. It does. But you're now getting to a much more important next step, which is, if you asked me to do the thing that makes you happy, I would then also be sad. And you don't ask me to do that. But you have felt that I have asked you to do the thing that makes me happy, in my mind, thinking that it would make you happy. So you don't think that I was doing it for a bad reason, but you think that I was trying to get you to be happy in a way that doesn't actually make you happy.
Yes.
Phenomenal. Well, it's a good understanding to get to. And obviously you've had this conversation off of here, but I just really wanted to get there. So I'm sorry for kind of pushing towards that, but I really wanted to get to that point because I think it's very important is that love languages too, you feel like, oh, this is how I'm loved. So this person wants to receive that. So I need to do what makes me feel good. No, you got to find out what makes the other person feel good.
And that's such a struggle because it's not like...
Well, it's foreign. It's alien.
Yes.
You can't understand it.
And it's not that we don't want to do what each other wants to
make
do,
them happy.
But it also brings yourself happiness to love somebody in your own love languages.
100%.
Because
but
you like that and you feel like...
Now it's selfish.
And you feel like they should like that too.
But now it's selfish, right?
Yes.
And this is just such a phenomenal thing. And we started this talking about delayed gratification. We started this about these things, and now we've gotten on to this thing to where it's like, you have to understand the other person and delay your process of getting to said happiness, to use simple words. You have to delay the way, you have to pause, you have to, the way that makes you feel that way, and get the other person, do what the other person needs to get there. So it's quite a saying. You've never explained it just like that.
True.
You've never explained it just like that. And I really like that. And that's what's so important about these sort of conversations, podcast or not. But I will say, it's easier to have them when it's recorded.
Yeah,
you talk a different way. Is that true for you too? It's true for me.
Yeah, it just gets you
in a different mindset.
Like going, and you think like, well, we gotta
hash this out without
keep doing this,
jumping at each other's throats.
Yeah, and then also, it's just like accountability almost because you feel like even though it's not live.
Well, yeah, we could decide to never post this. We could decide to never use it in any way. We could just keep it. There was already one that we didn't use half of it, and that's cool and that's fine and that's dandy. But I actually would suggest this to people, I have to say.
And we've said that before in the past.
Would you
where we were like, oh, there should be a marriage counseling. That's your homework is like
100%.
Have a conversation.
Well,
and
we
do a
we
video
at some
and
point will
not show the
probably
video to your
we at
counselor,
some
but
point
just
will have people here and do something like that.
and it's not even for like, oh, we would be screaming otherwise. It's just you explains. You try and
But let's
explain
also
stuff
not lie that
more,
that has happened.
not
Let's not.
super regularly.
Oh, I didn't say that we're having a difficult time. I just said that that has happened.
Yeah, but
And it's
it's not.
never happened while recording.
It's not common.
But it's
But
never happened
even
while
if
recording.
it's not that, you just try and explain things. Me at least, I try and explain things more and more clearly because I know that people don't have our context,
Right.
and that benefits the conversation.
I do talk the same off and on the podcast though.
Yeah.
Which is good and bad. And it's good and bad that you change it.
The only thing you change is like you'll like lead up to stuff. If you want to like hit on something, then you'll like guide it there. But I guess you do that. You would do that in a normal conversation too.
But I've also been recording myself and doing videos like this for a much longer extended period of time than you have. Very good conversation. So
I love when you scratch your head. It's so funny.
We've hit on a couple of very important, breakthroughs for some people. I don't want to act like this hasn't been talked about before. Other people do a much better job at doing it. But a couple of very important things discussed from two very different point of views in a very I lost the word that I was going for, in a very calm setting. I don't really do anything calm, but in a controlled environment, to where even though there was plenty of times either of us could have been like upset with each other on what was being said, it's not us against each other, it's us against whatever the issue is. And I don't think we were talking about issues per se, but we were talking about different ways that we process things and deal with things, which can then arise in an issue. And often it's little things that end up stacking up over time that then upset you with each other. Big things happen, but you end up being able to kind of deal with those ones. And of course, I'm being a little bit of a blanket statement here. There's some drastic big deals that would make a much bigger issue. Delayed gratification, long suffering, that's where we started. And then we got into how you interact with a significant other that...
Or just anybody. You want to interact with your parents or your friends or your coworkers in a way that they will respond to, or appreciate them in a way that they want to be appreciated. There
is a different layer with
You know what's great though? Most of my friends also are like physical touch for love. So that's great because I get to get huggies. Some people really don't like to be touched, and I have not personally like been close with somebody like that, which is great because that would be weird for me.
Personally been close with someone that doesn't like to like hold hands or like give each other a hug or whatever, stuff like that. Interesting.
But I mean, I guess there's a couple people that I've known that I'm not like that with.
Well, you're not like that with them, but you don't know if they're not, like you don't know them well enough. Per se. Oh, maybe. I don't know. Could be wrong. Your cup has been in most of this video. It can stay where it is. No, 100%. I think there's obviously that extra layer when it's a significant other, and especially a wife and a husband.
If somebody's watching who's not married, you gotta, tell them where they can apply it.
No, 100%. But I think this also leads to getting that. For at least most people, not everybody. Even biblically, not everybody, but most everybody, an end goal for a relational thing is a marriage. That is, and these sorts of. I would call them techniques. I know some people would be like, well, that's not. These techniques, these ways of dealing with things, can be learned, and they can be practiced. And then that goes to the other point that we hit on that I found very intriguing and very important, which is that forcing yourself to have this delayed gratification even when you don't have to have it. Because there's times when it's outside of your control, you're forced to have delayed gratification. And if you can practice in small doses when you decide in controlled environments to have this delayed gratification, it will prepare you for that. And that's why I disagreed with you on the point about not. It's a very specific, very niche, very funny thing that's kind of an inside joke with us, which is Esther's cold all the time. And I said, well, just don't wear a jacket on purpose sometimes and deal with the cold. And then over time, you'll actually be less cold. And she thought that was ridiculous, even though it's the truth. Like people who take cold plunges.
I'm not going to stop being affected by the cold.
No, you
But what you're
100%
saying-
will.
What you're
It's
saying is
scientifically
mentally
Incorrect.
and emotionally, I will
All
not.
three.
My body will be the same temperature. I cannot will my body into a different temperature.
You will feel it differently 100%. It's scientifically proven. People took 2 Wi-Fi routers and they said, oh, I get Wi-Fi sickness. And they turned the light on one and made it look like it was going. And they put them in the 2 different rooms. And the people in the room with the off Wi-Fi that had the light on, it wasn't transmitting any signal. They got sick, physically sick, fevers, colds, headaches, physically sick. They said, well, I have Wi-Fi sick. They were trying to prove that. And I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to say whether or not it's true or not true that there's Wi-Fi sickness. I'm not going to get into something like that. Some people call it conspiracy theory, yada, yada. I'm not interested, but I am interested in the study because the study is very cool.
Steady.
And they got sick. They physically got sick.
The
Not
brain
mentally. They
is
physically
a
got sick.
powerful thing. So I guess you're correct, but anyways. Oh, you know what I thought of on the same
Hopefully
topic?
it's on topic.
It is on topic, but
Right.
kind of irrelevant to mention, but I just thought of it, so I'm gonna I just saw a video on
You are
Instagram.
absolutely zooted over there.
I'm, crazy. Anywho,
A lot of movement.
saw a video
Okay.
of a lady who was pregnant, and she was like, leading up to pregnancy, for like however long you can, hold ice so that you can build up like your tolerance and staying calm in a very uncomfortable
100%.
situation. So you just stand there over the sink,
And
hold
you're telling
ice
me that I didn't,
for as long as you can.
And
No, this is what I'm saying. This is the conversation that we're having. So it's just another person doing exactly what we're saying. Giving
when
yourself
did you watch that video?
a couple days ago.
Okay. That was after our Coke conversation, so that's good.
Our co-conversation has been going on for
Yeah,
a long
but we had a
time.
very specific
And
one recently, and I was hoping that you weren't saying, this is a cool video that this lady's doing, when it's the exact same thing that I said, and you were telling me I was wrong.
I was just saying that I literally said it's irrelevant to mention,
It's not irrelevant.
but it's
This is
the
extremely
same thing.
relevant. And you
Yes,
liked
it's
the
just
video.
another.
You double tap. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Anyway, so you see that it's true.
Did I ever say it wasn't?
A few days ago.
No.
Yes.
What
you
I
did.
said was.
No, you just said it just now that I will physically still be just as cold. And now you're bringing up this video that,
No, and what about the video is saying it's telling yourself, be uncomfortable, so that when you're uncomfortable for this thing coming up, you know how to stay calm while you're uncomfortable.
Wow.
It's not saying, oh, your labor's going to be less painful because you did this thing.
No,
It's just saying you're
It will be.
going to be able to
No,
cope
it
with the
will
pain.
be. And you just agreed to it anyway, so
Sir?
we don't have to go over it again. But you just said that, no, you know that it physically...
I understand Spanish to a certain level. That's what I'm feeling right now.
So are you going to start doing it?
I don't know. Wait. No, that wasn't the answer to that question.
So are you going to
I was saying I don't know because I do believe that the brain is a powerful thing and you can have yourself.
Are you going to start purposely putting yourself in situations when you don't have to?
Didn't I just say that I did that today?
Phenomenal. Great answer.
So yes, I'm already doing it.
There we go. She's already doing it.
Dude is so difficult.
No, just making sure that we've gotten to the point that you've reflected that just a few weeks ago you refused to do it and said it doesn't exist. Just a few weeks ago.
But I never said that.
But
I
you
never
did.
said I'm not going to do that ever.
You actually said it on this recording 10 minutes ago. You said, I will never wear that jacket. I'll never do that thing that could potentially help me at work. Ridiculous statement. And then you said it
Let me
doesn't
tell you
exist.
something.
No. Then you said it doesn't exist. And then 2 minutes later, you said, you know what? It's true. And I believe it. And actually, I saw another video that explained it. And it's true.
No, the video had
No.
nothing to do with what you were saying of your body will feel less cold. And
no, but it did.
2 seconds ago when I said,
Well, it's not cold. It was pain this time, but it's the same thing.
yes.
Building up tolerance to said thing.
But I
Are you
don't
going to?
necessarily know, and I am going back and forth. So don't.
That's fine. But you said you weren't going back and forth though. That's what I was saying.
I don't know because I do know that, like, I also saw it was like on a show or something, and this kid was sick, and they were like, "Oh, here, take this medicine," but it was not medicine. It was just like
sugar pills. Yeah.
yeah,
Sugar pills.
and then she started feeling better.
Mm-hmm.
So I do believe that can happen, but I think it's like more extreme cases of people that are less sound of mind, like that person who is obviously unwell.
Well, I
It's
also
not
just
like
to touch on
if I do that, I don't feel like if I take my body temperature, it's going to be different. I just feel like I'll be more in control of my emotions.
You mean with like a?
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter. You realize that, right?
Correct.
Okay.
But you were hitting on the point that yes, you will physically be less cold for doing that.
Not the outside of your skin, but if
okay,
you were
and
dead,
that's what
if
I
you were
was
dead and your body got frozen, you wouldn't feel it either. The brain is what feels it. Your skin doesn't feel it. What are you trying to say here? That you're not in control? The brain doesn't control the part that's cold?
No, like
What are we
people
trying
that
to
do
say?
ice plunges, their
Okay.
body's freezing. It's
But it doesn't
in water
but it
that
doesn't
is freezing.
feel like that.
They're just controlling their external reaction
But I
and
was
their
talking
mental
about
reaction.
feeling the whole time. The feeling of it.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yes, but I'm just saying, like,
Sure.
you can't. You're not gonna have them get out and be like, "Oh, you don't feel cold because you were so calm. You made yourself be warm." No, they just controlled what they can. Their emotional and physical reaction to it.
My answer to that would be yes to the first two. They can feel. You use the word feel. They can feel less cold. I'm not talking about if you took a thing, the little thing where you shine the light or the tongue or whatever, however you take people's temperature. There's many different ways to do it. That they would be different. I'm not saying that.
I mean, it's not really super important.
No, it's not. We're just going back and forth. I did want to touch on real quick. Now it's been a couple minutes, but I'm not a woman and have no idea what the feeling,
I'm so glad
what the pain of delivering a child would be. So I wasn't trying to say that you can just say it's not going to hurt at all. Just to be clear, you had brought that up and said that she was working on having it be less, and I don't know how
she
much
was working on what she said was
staying calm
to
during
mentally
adversity,
be able to be calm while something uncomfortable is going.
Yeah, 100%. And that's all I've ever said. They're just all in different instances. But the more you can do it in a controlled environment, when you're forcing yourself to do it, the better you will be. So you said you're already doing it in said controlled environment, like saying you're gonna take a nap when you get home and then not. Doing extra work on putting up the weight and the distance of your walk and weightlifting. So yes, you're already doing it. I wasn't trying to say that you weren't doing it. I was saying, what are you doing? And then you just specifically said, I don't know that I'm specifically doing it. I mean, clearly I'm doing it with my weight loss and my gym time as well. But something that scares me the most, which is flying, I haven't worked on that in 2 years. It's the only thing that has put me so far out of my comfort zone that I refuse to do it again. So what am I doing for that? I don't know. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I've thought about that. I've thought about how and when am I going to do that? I basically have seizures when I'm on the plane. Like, not an actual seizure, but my body definitely goes through those motions, so much so that nurses and people on the plane were like asked to be rushed to me from their seat to like help me. Physically, mentally, I wasn't actually like having a seizure. I've never had a seizure. But is it not one?
I don't think so.
It's not a seizure.
But there was
physical,
you couldn't control.
Right. There was physical
limbs.
Right. There was physical, actual things going on, not just a thought. Because actually, the funny thing was, during it, not after it or right around it, but during it, I was actually very calm of mind, right in the instance of, like, people ask me questions. I'm like, no, I'm fine. I just can't control. And then my words were kind of slurred. So then some people were like, is this guy having a stroke? Like, right. It was quite aggressive is all I'm trying to say.
But then later also.
Oh, no. Then I was bawling and crying and totally. That's what I said. After the fact, it actually got worse.
No, not after. On the second flight.
That's a different time. I didn't actually have the same physical issues on the flight back. Some, but not nearly as bad. Anyway, definitely afraid of flying. The only thing I'm that afraid of. And then it threw me off, and I was afraid of everything for like, I keep saying 6 months. It really wasn't. It was more like a couple of months, if not a couple of weeks, that it was super bad, and then
It was
started to.
definitely months. It was long.
Well, but it came down.
Yeah, it wasn't like
Anyway,
extreme, but it was.
it's a flight.
a lot.
It's a flight or fight response to the highest
You said it
degree.
backwards. It's usually
Flight.
fight.
Oh, you're right. Well, I was trying to
Fight
make a
or
joke because
flight.
flying.
Yeah.
Flight or fight. Fight or flight response to the highest degree, and instead of it being useful in a dire situation and getting like an adrenaline run, I'm completely stuck in this plane and I can't do anything. So instead, my hands get stuck like this and I can't move them, and then everything falls asleep and gets super fuzzy, especially right here. Maybe someone can actually help me with this. This all falls asleep, gets all fuzzy. My hands fall asleep to the degree of not being able to move them, and then I just start kind of like bunching over, and no breathing techniques, nothing was doing anything. So anyway, I would like to work on that. I don't know how to have a control. See, I don't know how to have a. I don't know how to have a controlled environment. What do I do other than just fly again? That's not control.
I mean, you could.
That's doing the difficult
Just take
thing.
the
That would be
shortest
putting
flight
you in
because you know
zero.
it won't
That would be
actually
putting
harm
you in
you.
0-degree weather with the least amount of clothes on. You know what I'm saying? Like that's going from 0 to 60. I don't know how to. I know there's. I actually looked
Why?
up.
You would, if it
Well,
was
it's not
anywhere else,
control.
you could, anyone else, you could tell them things to help.
If it was anybody else who could tell
Do
me.
something else that.
Nothing else has
isn't
made me
good
feel
for you.
like that. Nothing. Except for
But do something uncomfortable. Do what you just said. Go out in the freezing cold in a pair of shorts and nothing else. That's extremely uncomfortable.
the issue is that would not make me. I guess I'd have to try, but I've done other
Yeah.
difficult things.
Let's not say, oh, that won't help.
No. I'm not saying that at all. It's completely unrelated. We told you to build up a
Yeah, what does the holding ice have to do with labor? It's just something that is uncomfortable and being able to control.
We said for you to build
Go
up
into
cold.
a store and yell something out. Do something that is extremely like socially weird.
Yeah, but I do stuff. Actually, I do actually. No, yours was slowly build up cold tolerance. I don't know how to slowly build up a tolerance too. It would have to be something related. In obviously claustrophobic probably had something to do with it. I wouldn't say that I'm claustrophobic. I probably am more so now than I was.
Go in a tight space.
Right, I'd have to go like in a really tight space for an hour.
Go on a drive and.
See, it's quite difficult.
I mean, you can't go on a drive, but it would have to be a long drive.
Can't do what on a drive?
No, you can do the driving thing to help because that's a closed in.
But I've been on 12-hour long drives.
Yeah, and it was a problem after that event.
After that, and then we've been on long drives since then. It wasn't an issue.
Yeah, but since it was.
So anyway, that is an intriguing one. I'm not disagreeing with you on that, but I would have to. For me, I would have to find something that's somewhat similar. I do many things outside of my but then they become part of you. That's the hard part. Some of the things that I do are some of what people feel the most not difficult, the most nerve-wracking. Some people, it's either the first biggest fear of everybody is death, and then second is public speaking is a general said thing. I don't know if it's true, but it's generally said. That doesn't make it true. But I do so much like off the cuff public speaking in front of people, stuff like that. But now I've become comfortable doing it. Mm-hmm. So then you have to find other things outside your comfort zone. Interesting.
You know what's uncomfortable? Getting a 9 to 5. Do it. Work in an office for 8 hours.
I would probably. Well, but
not really an achievable thing to just test out.
Oh well. This has been good too, but the beginning of the conversation was better.
Nice. Love to see what's better.
What? I wasn't saying like you made the conversation work.
You just often are like, this is better than this.
So delayed gratification, building up tolerance to things. Write down somewhere. I wanna spend a longer time at some point on that imaginary reward kind of thing, and kind of delve a little deeper on that, and maybe come up with like steps, like to really flesh out how I think through when I do that, and you as well, and write them down and then go over it. I think that could be very, very helpful for some people. For everybody. Boy, she got right to it. There ain't no delay there. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed that. I thought that was a very insightful conversation for us too. Like, I don't want to feel like we're sitting here like, oh, we got to drop these nuggets for these people. We got to really give them the good stuff.
Drop the nuggets.
That's what people say, do they not?
Drop the nuggets.
Like nuggets of wisdom. People say nuggets. Oh, just drop the nuggets. Just period. There. It's just as much for us. It's just as much for us. Like I said, of course we have these conversations off of here, but it's said a little bit different. It's said again. It's said, and
hey, I also delayed the gratification of going to bed because I wanted to go to bed.
Oh, yes.
Before we started this.
That's
and
right.
here
but
we
you also
are.
specifically said that we were gonna do this at this time, just to be clear. And the other one, and we will end with this. The other one was just because something makes you feel accomplished, purposeful, doesn't mean someone else is going to feel that same way doing the same thing. Again, a semi-obvious thing, but the way we got there was quite interesting, even though Esther commented on, oh, well, I'll never like work or whatever. And then I said, well, but didn't we come up with things that were really, really fun? But then she was like, but we didn't get there the right way. So the path to get to said thing is also very important. You can't just happenstance on some situation. There's a path to get there, and that is just as important, how to get there. And some people will enjoy it one way or another, and it's very important to understand that about yourself. And then relationally, and like Esther said, any relationship it matters with, any sort of relationship that you want to stay. All right, everybody, have a good night. Some very introspective thoughts there.
Good night.